Well, back with the Philips in the kitchen, still tinkering about, mostly doing cosmetic things today, because what you sometimes find with this old kit is that it's missing various bits, niggling bits that are annoying and obvious. The thing with this was the rubber feet were all missing, every one of them. So what I've done, rummaging around in the shed, I found a flat drive belt. Lord knows what it was for, whatever it was, I haven't got it anymore. But as you can see, it's spot on the width to go on the end of here. So it's then just a matter of cutting out 8 identical lengths of it and epoxy gluing it, which Philips did themselves, onto the front of the set. Another thing was this, which was missing, and thankfully it was down inside the set. So that was easy enough to just glue it back with epoxy glue. You can see here that this chassis was actually built for more than one machine, because look at all these cutouts there where other pots would go. Probably for the 4407 model or my Pi, because this one only has volume, balance, tone and record, but the Pi has 2 recording inputs and bass and treble as well. So yeah, interesting to see. This has needed a good deal of ingenuity, as it turned out, to bring it back to life. A lot of the mechanism was seized up just through lack of use, I would imagine. So it's all had to be freed off for the most part. And then I noticed a problem with the tape counter. Well, you know, if you've been watching me about the 1980s Philips stuff, and I've described the gears in there as red Leicester cheese, because that's what they seem to be made out of, and they just go. Well, on this tape counter, there's a pair of gears down there, the white ones, and they'd done that. They just fragmented into little bits. I think the goo had actually attacked the plastic and just rotted the belt. But of course the question is, how the hell are you going to do anything about that? Because you can't just run it direct onto here and cross the belt over, because this tape tension is in the way. So search was on for something that would fill the bill, and I found a couple of little nylon gears in the shed among all the other bits, and after boring out the middle so that they'll fit on the shafts, this too was seized up, the tape count. Everything seemed to be seized up or full of goo on this poor old thing. I was able to use those, and they're silent in operation, because that's the other thing you've got to consider. It can't make a sort of whining sound while it's running, can it? Because, you know, it's a tape recorder, for heaven's sakes, not a toy car. Now the idler had completely disappeared, turned into a load of old goo, and so what I've had to do here is to make a new one out of different diameter rubber tyres I happen to have around the place. And it's about the right size, and it certainly fast forwards well now. The rewind mechanism was something of a problem, and as I say, I've had to completely free up everything on here because it was all seized up or stiff. And it's amazing what an overnight soak in oil will do, because the problem was this boss here, where everything's pivoted, and yeah, well and truly gunged and seized up. So cleaning, yet more cleaning, and then degunging, and there you are. Now below here is the speed changer. Thankfully that was alright, that wasn't seized up, but the belt, alas, was no more. So again, back to the belt box to find a suitable belt, and believe it or not, I got it right first time. Fitting the belt is a bit of a tricky operation and involves quite a bit of dismantling, but I was going to have to do that anyway in order to clean the residual gunge off the flywheel, which is quite big. It's about that big, made of alloy of some sort, pretty heavy, and about an inch deep, I suppose. What would that be, 2.5 centimetres, something like that. So yeah, quite a lamp. And while that was out, oiled the main bearings, top and bottom, and then fitted this little oil thrower sealed back. It's important, as you don't want oil creeping up the capstan and getting on your tape. Somebody's been in here before me because they've put a little piece of felt on there where that wore out. Well, that's good, isn't it? This arrangement here that presses the tape against the heads very lightly was also all seized up, so I put a new spring on there. That spring was okay. Got this tape tensioner to work again. That's important. It maintains a little bit of tension on the tape during fast forward. All I've got to do now, touch wood, is to put an E-clip back on there. So the E-clip is around on the table, by the way. So yeah, it's been a challenging thing, this has, but it was well worth it because it does sound nice. Sounds very nice indeed. I haven't tried it with extension speakers, haven't tried it with recording yet, but I see no reason why it wouldn't work. All built like a tank. This thing weighs a ton. Adam got it for, I think it was £9 for the set, and then 10 for postage, and that wasn't bad really, was it, considering the size of it. I've been using the My Herbies people myself for a few things. I sent a jukebox the other day. It's only a small thing from the Crapperphone stable, up to a chap called Mark in Cumbria, who hasn't been too good recently. The post office, they wanted 15.92, parcel force 48, but My Herbies, I think it was just over 7, so it took a bit longer, but well, it's one of those things, isn't it? Swings and roundabouts. Another thing I've had to do is get the take-up to go again, and this spools very nicely indeed now. There's no problem at all. 2 new springs on here. This one pulls in the fast forward, and then that one operates the take-up down below, driving through a clutch. There don't seem to be the nasty rubber clutches used on the 4307, 4308 models on this one, thankfully. Oh dear, yeah, I don't know. It does make me wonder, they come up with a fantastic piece of kit, don't they? Philips was pretty good stuff, wasn't it? And then they spoil it by using cheap and nasty belts. What is the sense in that? Absolute madness, eh? Anyway, I've waffled on for long enough, but I thought you might like a look at the insides of this little lot. So see you soon.